ZBC TV. You are watching yet another exciting edition of your program, Agricultural New Directions, Agri-Business. And I'm your host, Wadzanai Manyore. So this is a platform where we seek to rectify the challenges and issues in the agricultural sector right here in Zimbabwe. In this particular episode, we are going to be focusing on a pertinent topic, investing in farming technologies. And once again, we have taken the liberty of inviting Agricon Case. We have Francois, the product support specialist at Agricon right here in Zimbabwe. Francois, thank you for gracing our platform with your presence today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, we are talking of farming technologies in this episode. What does it entail?
Okay, so one of the things is investing in farming technologies is we've got methods like soil water moisture monitoring, satellite imagery, yield maps, pervasive technologies, things like systems that are nav controllers, RTK systems to guide your tractors, section control systems that can be guided by the same GPS technology. We've got drone technology as well. These can do imagery of your fields on a daily basis, where we can look at insect infestation, we can look at nutrient deficiencies and things like that, and even crop standability through use of drone imagery.
Okay. Just as the topic entails, technologies, these are modes of production that are being modified continually. Now, looking at some of the implements that were used traditionally, what can you say, for example, tractors, how are they now modified to suit maybe precision agriculture? We have tillage equipment, chemical applications, stuff like that. How are they now modified to suit the term technology?
Well, one of the main factors that actually bind a lot of these units together is the use of GPS technology, mapping imagery and control systems. For example, a lot of our tractors we can fit with auto steer systems. So the driver doesn't actually have to concentrate on steering the tractor anymore. It'll follow a preset line that you calibrate into the machine, and then you can control the implement or spend more time monitoring what the implement is doing. These same systems can do application rate control as well, so variable rate according to prescription mapping, or even just things like section control, so they can switch the unit off, switch it on over areas that need to be applied, or areas that switching off over areas that have already been applied to. A lot of this information we can get also if you look in our combines are running the same kind of technology, where from that we can get yield mapping, which can then be put into prescription mapping for rate control, i.e. fertilizer spreading applications. So all of these systems blend into each other.
Now just maybe looking more at our chemical application systems, we understand that there were some kind of implements and equipment that was used before, and some is still being used now. Now, chemicals, I understand they are very costly, they are expensive. Now, what kind of equipment in terms of chemical application that is available at Agricon in Zimbabwe?
So we've got available from even something as small as a knapsack sprayer right through to self-propelled sprayer. Our biggest sprayer in our range capacity-wise is 7,900 litre capacity, and that's got a 49 metre boom.
That's huge.
That whole system is electronically controlled, variable boom height control, section control, the whole lot, and that's all done through the same mapping systems that we use through a GPS platform. But the main technologies that make the difference with those spraying applications goes back down to just the nozzle that's used. How that nozzle treats the water, how it applies, and the actual formation of the droplet size. And that's where the key aspect to any sprayer is that we need to start focusing on, and it's something that's very underlooked here in Zimbabwe. We've got a lot of farmers that are using one nozzle from the time they purchase the machine to the time they buy a new machine.
So it's just the nozzle remains constant.
The nozzle remains constant, and these things wear, and these things have to be changed with different types of chemicals. If you're looking at a contact or a systemic type application, we need to use different nozzles to put that chemical down, to do a different droplet size, etc., etc. So that part of the technology is the heart of a sprayer. The other sides add to the control and to the performance of the sprayer.
Now, in terms of harvesting, we understand that even if a farmer is going to harvest a very good yield in terms of maybe his grain size, moisture content and stuff, some are still struggling with storage facilities. Is Agricon into storage facilities at the moment?
We don't provide storage facilities for grains and things like that. Obviously, we've got partners in the industry that do it, and we can push people in the right direction, which is what we often do. If you're looking at other products that we look for storage, things like grass silage.
Okay.
We do a lot of baling equipment, a lot of hay production equipment and silage equipment.
Okay.
And in that aspect, we've got bale wrappers. So if you're cutting a silage bale, we can then wrap it up in plastic to preserve and improve the quality of the silage.
Okay, now as we just wrap up this segment, I'm just going to ask you in terms of monitoring. We understand that monitoring and evaluation is one aspect that is very important in agriculture. In terms of monitoring equipment, I've once heard of someone talking of the drone. Is it available at Agricon, and what does it do, just in short?
Yes, we are currently investing, and we have invested in 3 types of drones.
Okay.
We are busy building a platform that we can offer certain services to customers,
okay,
in combination with local companies that are doing it for yield mapping and sampling and things like that. So we're going to be offering a system. We're busy developing a program that will work for our side of the business and company to what the customer's needs.
Okay.
And then obviously we'll be relying on companies that are actually doing the monitoring and soil sampling to give us inputs to help with the customers.
Okay.
One of the benefits of having this technology available to us is that we can do site-by-site investigation. We can then apply the information and put it into our equipment to show the customers how to use that information. It's no good having a data file full of information and we don't know how to put it into a machine.
Okay.
So we can then take that information, put it back through the machine and show the guys how we can utilize this technology into their operation.
Okay. And on that note, viewers, we are going on a short commercial break. We'll be right back with this and more in the second segment. Stay tuned. Welcome back, viewers, in the second segment of your program. You are watching Agricultural New Directions, Agri-Business. We are talking about investing in farming technologies, and we have taken the liberty of inviting Francois, a product support specialist from Agricon Case, right here in Zimbabwe. Now, earlier on, Francois, we're talking of the various equipment available at Agricon. Moving away from that a bit, in terms of farming technologies, how can they be used? What form of technologies that are there at Agricon that are going to address or sort of like help in the prevailing climatic conditions at the moment affecting our agricultural sector?
So there's, as we mentioned, we discussed a bit about the data side or the information side of technologies that's improved. We've also got equipment that has evolved over years now to be more competitive and have an edge on certain type of climatic issues.
Okay.
We did discuss earlier in another episode the issues of conservation practices.
That's true.
Okay. So with regards to that, we've got machines like vertical till units. These are designed to control residue and just aerate the top layer of soil.
Okay.
This will improve filtration of water. It'll improve the microbial action in the soil. We've got units like strip till units, which are less impact on the total field, but they create a perfect zone for the seed and germination of your crop.
Okay.
We've got units like inline rippers, with that term a no-till ripper. These are subsoil rippers that do very minimum soil disturbance on the surface, but do maximum shattering penetration under the ground,
Okay.
which can also then improve filtration and nutrient infiltration into the soil.
Okay, thank you for that. Now, Francois, focusing on the advantages and the benefits that come with investing in farming technologies, looking mainly on multitasking, looking also at our productivity and focusing on just achieving higher yields. Because looking at the moment, most of our farmers are in debt. They need to improve their productivity, improve their yields, multitasking and saving their costs. What are the advantages that come with investing in the farming technologies at the moment?
You've mentioned a few of the items already. So one of the things is improving yield.
Okay.
That's one of the key aspects that any farmer wants to do. So the idea is to try and improve the yield with the minimum input costs.
Okay.
Minimum input materials.
Okay.
Okay. Other side of it is to improve your competitiveness in the market.
Okay, you need your competitive advantage.
Correct.
To suit the prevailing market conditions.
We are all going to see price drops in the future on commodities, and if we are able to produce that commodity at a cheaper cost per hectare, we are able to keep our our margins, our profitabilities up, which means we can then invest in new equipment later on. We can then make it sustainable for us to farm.
Okay. Now moving away from that a bit, we want to talk of the importance of investing in farming technologies, because obviously when our farmers hear investment, they think huge sums, huge figures. They forget the benefit side of that. So maybe doing the cost-benefit analysis, what is the importance of a farmer to say, I'm moving away from traditional methods of production, I'm investing into farming technologies?
One of the first things to address is your current operation sustainable?
Okay.
Can you carry on with this method and keep your productivity up for the next 20, 30, 40 years? That's the first thing to start looking at. Once you've identified systems that maybe can improve your productivity, we need to start looking at how can we then utilize information that's accessible to us.
Okay.
Although we might be a small farm or a big farmer, we've got a community in all our regions.
Yes.
And our communities are generally dealing with the same impacts, the same problems.
That's true.
And from this we can start accumulating data across different models and utilizing this data to improve on what we are doing on our hectarage. One of the things the term I use a lot is, we don't all need to pay school fees.
Okay.
Someone else has paid the school fees already. Why don't we utilize that information and improve on it?
That's true. Okay, so you're just talking of advancements instead of focusing maybe on injecting huge capital funds into trying to modify the thing. It has been already done.
Correct.
So you're now just focusing on improving and advancing with time.
Correct.
As we round up the second segment, Francois, we want to understand the basic principles that a farmer or any agricultural practitioner across the breadth of Zimbabwe should understand when he's going to make the transition from traditional methods of production to the new farming technologies.
Okay, so we've talked about data, we've talked about equipment.
Yes.
We've also got new technologies in the way we need to operate in our fields.
Okay.
One of the things is crop rotations.
Okay.
We need to invest in crops. We don't have a very big market for different types of cropping in Zimbabwe.
That's true.
And if we could create more markets for different croppings, more things, then we could have more rotation, which improves the quality of our soil. It improves the type of chemicals that we use, the building up of nutrients, the building up of water channels through different root structures, because every crop has a different root zone that it's drawing nutrients from.
Okay.
So if we can build up all these different aspects, we can then start improving the yield or the profitability out of our soils.
Okay, that's true. Viewers, there you had it. We are talking of investing in farming technologies in the agricultural sector in Zimbabwe. We'll be back in the third and final segment of your program. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, viewers, in the third and final segment of your program, Agricultural New Directions, Agri-Business. I am Wadzanai Manyore. I have taken the liberty of inviting a product support specialist from Agricon Zimbabwe case. Francois, earlier on we were talking of the importance, the advantages of investing in farming technologies. Coming back to you, Agricon in Zimbabwe, what are the basic or the most advanced technologies, farming technologies you have at the moment that can suit the prevailing climatic, be it economic conditions that we are facing at the moment?
With utilization of things like guidance systems,
okay,
utilization of rate control systems, section control systems, we can improve our productivity quite dramatically.
That's true.
One of the things is the linking of these systems between different platforms on the farm. For example, information from a combine through to the tractor, through to the spreader, through to the sprayer. All these informations are easily accessible now. Whereas in 20 years ago we were starting all that, but we just didn't know how to put it all together. We didn't have the platforms, we didn't have the companies that could do soil sampling, match up our data off our equipment to then be able to apply it back into the field. Where that is all available to us at the moment.
Okay, now just coming to you as a product support specialist, you've been around farming agricultural activities in Zimbabwe. Would you say that our farming community, the various stakeholders in the agricultural sector, are into adopting these farming technologies? What's your comment on that?
There's a term often utilized as global farming practices.
Okay.
I don't like the term. Because we need to farm what's in front of us.
Okay.
We need to look at our local markets. We need to look at what's profitable locally and invest in those markets.
Okay.
Build up new markets, yes, I do agree. But globally, if you look at Brazil, for an example,
okay.
Brazil can plant 5 or 6 different types of cereal crops.
Okay.
There's markets for all the seeds. They can make oils and etc. etc. Whereas we don't have the markets readily available to us.
Okay.
So investing in new markets is definitely key for our future in this country,
okay.
especially something that can generate some forex.
Okay.
And that will give us a big advantage to how far our future with farming can go in this country.
Okay, so when you're talking of foreign markets, obviously we are going to be talking of addressing the trade imbalance, trying to export more, so we need to invest in our markets. I get that. Now, as we move forward, Francois, in terms of food security, we understand that there are times, given the climatic changes that are taking place, there are times that we can face food insecurity. We can look at that into the future. How can investing in farming technologies address food insecurity?
One of the aspects for addressing food insecurity is to improve yield per hectare.
That's true.
Okay, so we can look at systems that are going to utilize residue on the surface to minimize evaporation of moisture. Moisture is obviously our key aspect. I've been at a few farms this last week where the guys' irrigation systems weren't really putting enough water, and they saw big losses in yield.
Okay.
3 to 4 tons per hectare on wheat, for example.
Big.
That's big. That's a lot of money that's not there. On other areas, they've managed to achieve that through packages on their systems that are able to put down more water. So if we can address just the basics, keeping water retention on the field by doing different farming practices, conservation practices, back to what we've discussed before.
Yes.
These things can start improving our sustainability on our hectarage.
Okay, now we understand that our farming community in Zimbabwe might look at some of the equipment that is being availed as costly, and they might still want to continue doing traditional methods of production. What is your word of advice to our Zimbabwean farmers, mainly be it small scale, commercial, subsistent? What would you want to say to them in terms of adopting new farming technologies that are being availed at Agricon, of course?
One thing, investing in your operation is not always about just investing in equipment.
Okay.
You can change your farming practices, your farming methods, your utilization of your soil.
Okay.
Using soils on the farms that are generating good yields, not trying to push yields out of soils that can't produce good yields.
Okay.
Creating drainage, for example, is something that we need to look at on certain fields that are getting moisture waterlogged.
Okay.
Once we've got the field side addressed, we can start addressing the type of technology or type of equipment that we can utilize.
Okay.
But the trends that are floating around is to get away from abrasive or invasive type of equipment, machines that are going to really impact hard on the soil structure, to machines that are doing less impact on the soil structure.
Okay.
This all blends back to having retention of residue, organic structure, and crop rotation, where you've got different types of rooting in the soil that can create different zones of the soil where you get water channeling and even root decompaction.
Okay.
Organic plows, things like that.
Okay. Now, Francois, you've been in the industry, in the agricultural industry, for quite some time, I understand, and you have valid experience, obviously. There is a school of thought that says that rogging, burning of plant residue, can be used as a remedy to eliminate pests and diseases. What's your take on that?
There is yes, it can control certain situations at the time.
Okay.
But it's not sustainable.
Okay.
You're taking every single bit of organic structure that's on that surface and you're destroying it.
Okay.
You might release a bit of carbon, you might release a little bit of nitrogen. It's very short-lived.
Okay, in the long run, it's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable.
Okay.
There are methods of farming, and this gets back to the key aspect you've brought up many times, is crop rotation.
Okay.
Rotating the type of plants you're using, it means you're rotating the types of chemical you're using for spraying those crops, be it pesticides, fungicides, or herbicides.
Okay.
It means you're rotating the type of fertilizer used in those fields. So we're not creating a monoculture type environment.
That's true.
Creating more diversity in our environment.
Okay.
So we don't allow certain pathogens to build up to a point where they become destructive.
Okay. As you are into Agricon case, we're looking at the trends, the prevailing trends, market trends at the moment. What is the most bought equipment, form of equipment or implement or tool at the moment? Is it tillage? Is it tractors? Is it boom sprays? What can you given the type of things that our farmers are looking into investing?
One of the biggest areas of investment I see with our trends is definitely tractors.
Okay.
People are investing in tractors. Coupled to that is investing into types of equipment. We see a lot of fertilizer spreaders, especially electronic controlled fertilizer spreaders going out.
Okay.
Spray equipment. I think, guys, there's a big trend this year with the prospects of an El Nino cycle looming in the future. Guys are looking at vertical tillage. Guys are looking at strip tillage.
Okay.
Guys are looking at full-on no tillage.
Okay.
So these are aspects that are really getting a lot of interest at the moment.
Okay. It was a pleasure having you, Francois, today with us. Just maybe your contact details to our viewers pertaining to this. They want to get in touch with you looking into this segment or program. What are your contact details?
Once again, we've got a Facebook page, Agri-Con Equipment Zimbabwe, and that's one of the best platforms for us. It's got all our contact information there. Our call center information is there as well. We do run a 24/7 call center, so that number is there. The guys can go through and get access to us through that.
Okay, thank you. There, viewers, we were talking of investing in farming technologies. It is pertinent. We have to move into the new direction that agriculture is taking and remain relevant in our production systems. So from me, your host, Wadzanai Manyore, the crew behind the scenes, join us again next week, same place, same time. Have a fabulous evening.